This planet that we live in, folks, is a strange planet indeed. And it is only strange due to our lack of knowledge and understanding of it. Think about it. We live on a planet that is over 75% water, and the majority of those waters have been left unexplored. Why? There are several land masses that many people still to this day don't even know exist. Why? Because the money that is needed to openly explore these regions of our planet is all put into the exploration of regions outside our planet. I mean, NASA was just approved for a multi-billion-dollar project to take a trip to Mars. Mars, folks. Honestly, with everything we are facing in our world today, do any of you really give a crap about what's going on with Mars? Maybe all this space exploration is funded in order to keep us away from exploring remote locations on our planet. Well, as history shows us, lack of funding doesn't stop people from the exploration of truth. It just limits them. Which brings us to the discovery of a possible truth that is beyond strange and beyond our comprehension. So here we go, folks. Hollow Earth. So, right now, there are two major ideas, or concepts, behind the Hollow Earth theory. There is also a third theory which suggests that our planet may not be the spherical shape that we always known it to be. That is another video. Now, the first idea or concept or layer to Hollow Earth has to do with something that we really know is fact. We all know that there are holes or pockets within the Earth's crust. There are caves, crevasses, reservoirs, tunnels, bunkers, mines, underground bases, and maybe even cities. Aside from the holes we create, the majority of natural underground caves remain unexplored. Because quite frankly, you have to be nuts to explore them, and get other people to explore them with you. Which brings me to the second concept, the deep layer to the Hollow Earth theory, which is an ancient theory, by the way. But I want to start with Admiral Byrd. Now, here's a true nut, folks. And I'm not saying nuts in the sense that he was crazy. I'm saying nuts in the sense that this guy had a lot of balls. Him and his co-pilot, Floyd Bennett. So, what they did is they flew a 1920s aircraft up and into the North Pole. This takes a very skilled and talented pilot, because nobody is pulling it off today without an advanced military jet. This expedition with two people still remains questionable to this day. Not because of what they didn't find up there, but because of what they did find. Lush vegetation. Not little patches of it, but valleys, mountains, and rolling green hills, as he describes in his diary. Which we don't know is real, because Byrd is not here to tell us that it is. And wasn't here when the diary was released. But, even if no one believed his story about the North Pole, then why was he sent to find vast resources at the South Pole? Now, understand, folks, that you can't just get up and go to the North and South Poles, and it's not just as simple as flying there, especially the South Pole, where you have an ice barrier, a virtual wall of wind, snow, and ice, something you may only be able to drive through with a tank. Now, we can assume that there is land underneath the large ice sheets of the North and South Poles, but green, lush valleys and rivers and hills and mountains? We're talking about a lost world here. But is it really that inconceivable? Did you know that there is a bird, a small bird, called a Ross's gull? It is a type of seabird. What's significant about this bird is that it's been known to fly north for the winter, and their breeding sites are extremely difficult to locate. In other words, they don't really know where these birds go when they fly into the Arctic and come back with kids. So, you have to ask yourself, how does a bird who's built like this survive the deep Arctic in the winter months? Speaking of birds, Admiral Byrd goes on in his diary to describe his accounts of inner Earth or hollow Earth. Now, I'm not going to tell you what he said because it's way out there, folks, but I'm going to tell you how this hollow Earth works. So I want you to use your imagination here for a moment. Let's just say that, for the sake of the argument, the Earth is round. I know some of you are going to be like, it's flat! It's flat, goddammit! And I'm going to get to that, trust me. I am. But for now, in order to understand this, I need you to pretend that the Earth is round. Now, we've all been taught that the Earth consists of 4 layers: the crust, the mantle, the outer core, and the inner core. The crust is what we have studied the most, so it is the part of the Earth that we have the most information on. Now, the crust is very thin. It's been estimated to be between 3 and 5 miles thick underneath the ocean floor, and about 5 to 25 miles thick from the surface to the mantle. Then you've got about a good 1,800 miles of mantle. Then the outer core, another 1,400 miles. And then you have the inner core, which is about 800 miles across. Now, we know that the core is actually solid iron and a little nickel, but mostly a spinning ball of iron that spins in the opposite direction of the crust. Now, modern discoveries suggest that this core is not like some spinning molten fireball in the center of the Earth, but a solid form of iron that emits a type of light energy. Not like the radiation we get from the sun, but the energy that it emits seems to mimic the sun. Now, if you've ever seen an ultrasound performed on a pregnant woman, you know that they use sound waves through a probe to get images. And this is what they have done to the Earth, using satellites. Some of the images produced, however, have been very difficult to explain, and some scientists have done their math and suggested that there is actually space between the core and perhaps the mantle. Are you with me so far? If that's true, then that would mean that the Earth would have a second crust, an inner crust. And in between these 2 layers of crust would be the mantle and magma, which also means that gravity is not in the core, but in the crust. So, if all these things are true, then yes, it makes sense that life could exist on this inner crust, with the core acting as an inner sun. All the elements that are needed for life are there. People are still trying to look for these holes at the North and South poles. Adolf Hitler was actually obsessed with finding Hollow Earth through the South Pole. But doing this costs a lot of money, folks. Even if you find the hole, who's gonna make the trip through it? To find out if there's some allegedly beautiful, perfect world when you come out the other end. Who's willingly gonna go through a big, dark, black hole in the Earth? Well, I guess there are a few people who would. All I know is, I'm not going to Hollow Earth anytime soon, and I'm pretty sure neither will any of you. Don't worry, folks. I don't think that the people of Hollow Earth like us anyways.